I'm not going to waste time trying to nail this thing in the bigger picture of what I'm trying to achieve of this song or of this piece. And there are other times where I say, you know what, I'm going to nail this. Actually, I'm going to spend an hour and nail this one tiny thing, because I know that if I do that in the future, there's going to be space and there's going to be a moment where that comes in handy, or I'm going to learn something from that process.
How did you work on your technique specifically? Was it always, were you kind of problem solving? Was the problem obviously the line you were trying to play, and then you were trying to obviously gather the technique or hone the technique together to be able to do that? How did you actually do that though? What specific formula or framework did you use to break that down?
I mean, I think I've never been a particularly formulaic practicer on any instrument. I was always really punk in school about I don't want to do that. It's so boring. I want to do whatever I want, and let me do what I want to do. But I think that I underestimate how much I discipline myself in the recording environment. And I think what I would do is this kind of thing. I would set myself a challenge of something. It was like, you have to play this line. It's ridiculously hard. And it involves, I'm going to tap on, I'm going to pull off, I'm going to do this, I'm going to slide, whatever it happens to be. And I would say it, and I would talk that language. Sometimes I would even sing it into Logic just to have it as a reference track, or I'd play it on the keyboard. And then I would find a way of doing it, And I was never afraid to cut a corner, if that meant I'm editing half together with another half for now, that's fine, it will do. And then I go and play it live, and I end up jamming it together. So I guess it was just this process of isolating what I needed to be able to do, and then figuring out how to do that. And you start slow and you build it up. And, actually, we were talking about Rob Malarkey. I remember sitting down Rob Malarkey about 8 years ago and saying, Rob, how do you play so smooth? Because he does this, and it's like liquid.
Yeah.
Beautiful, even line. It's like this, the dynamic doesn't change. And I'm trying to play fast. And Rob's Rob's one of these very intuitive guys, but he explained a bit about what it means to do this, and I was just doing this before,
got it.
But and then being able to be consistent with that tone was something that Rob kind of encouraged me. I mean, as a fan of Rob's, and then also as a friend of his around that time too. And I was never afraid to ask someone who knew more than me about something I didn't understand. Rob, how do you do that? When you go, when you tap on or when you pull off or whatever, how do you do it? And I've always been like that. I've always been so curious. And I will point things out. I say, wait, how did you do that thing? I want to learn how to do that thing. I want to add that to my repertoire. Obviously, once it's in my repertoire, I can do whatever I want with it. I can tear it in half. I can play it back to front. I can speed up, slow it down. Or never have to play it ever again. But the more things I've collected in my arsenal of understanding over the years, the more I have to mess around with. And so when I see someone do something I like, I always, if I know them, I'll ask them, and if I don't know them, then I'll listen very attentively. And I think, how is he doing that? And the other thing that I'll do a lot is I'll sing. I'll sing the phrasing, and someone like Jacko, you listen to the lyricism on something like Continuum or something, and it's vocal. He's singing through that bass, and as a singer, I relate to it first on that level, and second, I would relate to it. Maybe even third, I'd relate to it as a bass player after an arranger or a composer. And I think for me, my sort of instrumentalism is always very much a symptom of my very directive imagination, saying, right, we're going to do this. I want to find a way of making this possible, And I think technique it invents itself where it's necessary. As long as you give yourself direction and momentum, and you believe that it's possible to do it, there will be a way to do it.
Have you ever been? Is there any sort of moments in the past where you've actually been stumped? Something got the better of you. Something you no.
No, yeah. Oh man, all the time. In terms of technique, all the time. I can think of so many examples of this. I think that when it happens, like on the piano, I can think of things where something I come up with in my mind I can't execute, and I stump myself, which is often what happens. So, for example, wanting to play one line in the left hand in one key and one line in the right hand in a different key, and in my mind I know why that works and why it's connected, but I can't. I guess just because I wasn't classically trained as a piano player, I can't execute that very easily. And some people can. It's like butter, but for me, I didn't focus on counterpoint as a kid. I focused on chords, harmony, vertical thinking. I was such a vertical thinker. So for me, I I often stump myself, and I often frustrate myself as well, because my mind works so fast. It's like, what do you mean you can't do it? Come on, just do it, you know. And so there's this funny dynamic where I dance around myself with my technique, and at times I have to say, you know, I'm not going to waste time trying to nail this thing in the bigger picture of what I'm trying to achieve of this song or of this piece. And there are other times where I say, you know what, I'm going to nail this. Actually, I'm going to spend an hour and nail this one tiny thing, because I know that if I do that in the future, there's going to be space, and there's going to be a moment where that comes in handy, or I'm going to learn something from that process, you know.
Hey, I just want to say a massive thanks for watching that video. Now, if you want to watch the entire video with Jacob, it's over an hour long. He gets into a bunch of amazing stuff all about the bass. If you want to check that out, the link is in the description below. Just click that, it'll take you over to the page and you can watch it there. It's totally free to view. And if you are trying to level your skills up on the bass, you will also find a ton of free resources and lessons over on the website as well. So with that said, take it easy, click that link in the description, and I'll see you in the shed.